Me is a crusty situation. Is that going to be our tagline for this episode? Again, there's this laughter, which is more important than whatever words we're saying. So, something that has showed up a few times this week is this sense of clarity about what we're here for. So, if I can give an example, it's about when I'm meeting with anyone, whether it's in a Lila therapy session or receiving a session or meeting with friends outside of the school, uh, an awareness on the possibility to either try to fix something in myself about it or to really be present with nothing to get. So, to give specific examples, I booked a session with Lisa for next week. And in the moment of booking it, I was all wound up and crusty about there's something going on and I need support with it. And even just saying that, I feel this tenderness in my heart. It could be confused for anguish, but it's tenderness, it's love, actually. And I was walking and I reflected on how I actually don't really want to bring crustiness in a meeting with Lisa. I want to bring myself and start from the deepest surrender and then invite in things that may seem to challenge that. Because I feel in my body right now how very tempting and satisfying it could feel to show up in complaint all the time and to describe this is going wrong and I don't like this and I need help with this, and just to show up from that place of problem. And at a level that is very tasty, actually, it tempts me. Some, I would say, egoic aspect of this self is really drawn to show up in that way. It gives a sense of like power. There's a rising in the body, an inflation, a sense of like, I'm in control and I'm doing something, even though it's talking about how things are going wrong. It's about, I'm the one who's going to describe it and do my best to fix it. And I'm just, in feeling the momentum of that habit and feeling the intensity of that body sensation of the rise of power that it could give me to do that. I'm very clearly aware that I don't want to do that anymore. And I don't mean that I want to like ignore challenges or pretend that everything's okay or push things away. It's that right now I'm aware of surrender. I'm aware of openness to these sensations, for example, that are showing up in the body, and the felt sense of tenderness. And I would rather begin here and just see what happens. Be tested, even invite testing, because I feel that testing and challenges can deepen this experience of freedom.
To me, what you're talking about is depth. Because it's not like you're trying to push away this, what you're calling crustiness. You're aware of it and you've inquired into it. You see what it gives you, but you want something deeper. Not only do you want something deeper, you said that's what your life is about.
Yes, it's very simple.
It's beautiful because depth is always here.
Yes. I don't know what that means, and I know it's true. feels true.
What does it feel like for you?
Completely unknown freedom. And in some way, it seems like, it feels like the more unknown, the more open.
Yeah, it gives me goosebumps. It's also just the ultimate taking of responsibility.
Well, you know, a piece that's really related to this, you and I talked a couple days ago about showing up this way in all of life. I forget the exact context or words. When I heard you say that, I was like, oh, that's terrifying. And also, really, this whew, sense of yes to that, and a fear that it could be very, very challenging. And this is what I mean is I could bring into this conversation the fear and the story that this is so challenging, and here's where I'm showing up, not staying true. Here's where I'm showing up with pain and suffering as the only thing in the world. And I just don't feel that I benefit from believing that right now.
Yes, because your life is about depth.
Surrender is here. Love and surrender together.
These conversations really give me so much joy because I come from a background of my whole life being about connecting to people through complaining. We would all just tell each other what was wrong and connect with each other on a certain level about it. And much like what you're talking about, that's not what my life is about anymore. I love depth. I love these conversations.
I must tell the truth. I can think of a lot of examples in the past 3 days where I've complained loudly, aggressively, even about all kinds of things. And and then afterwards, I'll overhear myself and just be like, oh, I was really loud. And that was not quiet or peaceful. And I didn't really need to say any of that. And in the past, my habit would then be to go into self-judgment, self-hatred about, oh, geez, that was wrong. What I said was totally wrong. And thinking about it and replaying, and then like trying to make a rule like, okay, next time that happens, I'll be really quiet and say nothing. And here's what I can do instead. And I say this to expose that that pathway is really not what we're talking about here.
There's a choice point in there, actually, is what I'm hearing. You can go into the self-judgment, or you can just be honest about it. And that honesty to me is love. If it's clean, and by clean, I mean, not trying to change something or make it different or beat yourself up in any way. Just like, oh, look at what showed up. Simply being aware of it, and then it can stop. Just by shining the light on it, it can stop.
You know, I do notice just even um, the clarity of self-reflection. Like, oh, I said that, and that's how that felt. It's enough on its own. It's really clear, um, organically, very clear. I don't need to really think much more beyond that, if at all. It's just there's a clarity of feeling the result. How about for
It's,
you?
I was going to say it's so cool because, you know, I don't really use the word self-judgment. Mine goes more into self-hatred directly. And that's more of the pattern for me is to notice something I did or something I said or how I showed up or projecting what people think of me. And immediately I can feel it right now, even just as I tell you this, is like, ooh, you are just a piece of crap. Like having this strong, strong, strong feeling that there is something wrong with me. And it's not that there's a problem with the feeling, it's that I can get so entranced in believing that it is true. And then from there, looking for proof that it's true and always finding something very easily. And it's a trip, because to live life from there is just so immensely depressing.
You're laughing at these words. You said, I'm a piece of crap. Life is immensely depressing.
When I believe that, because I can go through periods of believing that, and it's like hell for me. I really can take it personally. But the reason I'm laughing now is because I see through it. And there's a lightness to the whole thing. It's not true. It's not personal. It's just a feeling. And freedom is in not believing the story around it. No story, no me. No me, well, then silence and love are here. And there is definitely no problem.
I feel something so essential in what you just said about there's a lightness. Because I don't get the feeling like you're not taking it seriously. A moment ago, you used the word responsibility. But this laughter that comes through you, it's not forced, it's not contrived, it's something else.
Well, Maeve, we had a similar conversation a week ago, and I was not laughing. It was very serious, and there was something wrong. And yeah, that was hell for me. And so this has been my inquiry over the last really week or 2 weeks. And I feel so free. That's why I'm laughing. It doesn't have the same hold on me. And it doesn't mean that I'm not tested and triggered almost daily with this same thing.
Can I ask you to clarify when you say it doesn't have the same hold on me? What specifically doesn't have a hold on you?
The story, because the feeling still comes. That's what I mean when I'm tested and triggered. Something will come up, and this feeling of being worthless, hating myself comes up. But, and the story might even still come up. I might start to tell it, but I very quickly recognize it, don't believe it, don't take it personally. And just naturally, there's a stopping in that. That creates the lightness. So when you ask me what is it, I'm talking about the story. But if we want to get even more specific, it's about me. It's about my identity. It's who I believe myself to be.
Yeah, that's what really stands out to me as I'm hearing you. I'm just really aware of how we're talking about a rich emotional and mental experience that is not really so much about outside circumstance, even though it may start with outside circumstance. It's really about me, this guy. And and I point at myself because there's a real obsession with me, myself as an imagined center of the universe, as a person. This is taking it personally, making it about me.
Crusty old me.
Well, I'm not that crusty, but me is a crusty situation, let's say. Me is a crusty situation. Is that going to be our tagline for this episode? Again, there's this laughter, which is more important than whatever words we're saying. This natural laugh that comes in seeing ourselves, seeing myself, and being able to laugh at what seemed to be so all-encompassing, and having seen through the fact that I was doing it to myself.
Yeah, you started the conversation talking about clarity, and that's what's essential here. Clarity around your false identity, clarity about who you really are, clarity about what your life is about.
Clarity about love. I'm reflecting right now on later today. I'll be in situations where sometimes I complain, and such a beautiful feeling as I check in, like, what would it be like to be love in that situation?
What's the answer?
So easy. Love is already in that situation. I'm picturing going to a specific place. And, can I invite our listeners to also check in with this? What would it be if you picture yourself maybe being in a specific situation or going to a specific place where complaining might show up, and entering that situation or place as love, being love, effortlessly.
What's your experience of love?
At first, it feels completely natural. And then I check in with, ooh, what if that challenging trigger shows up and there's a reckoning to meet that also with love. And of course, from this place right now, I have no idea how that might go, but what I feel in here is clarity that me doesn't have to do so much. Love can drive the bus.
And then in that, does it really matter how it goes?
Yeah, I notice I'm not really concerned with that.
That's right. Love isn't concerned with that. We've used the word clarity a few times, but what's coming from me right now is how love is so intelligent. Love is so open. It's just natural. And if a mistake is made, love doesn't care.
It is the definition of what is natural. Love is the definition of what is natural. And then it's intelligent and clear that it requires no extra effort, no special doing. And yet, tremendous discovery. Just noticing how we're talking about what's natural, and at the same time, I'm experiencing how this way of being is a huge difference. It's a big deal. It's not a subtle or small experience, it's revelatory. This surrender into being openness itself.
It's so silent. I have nothing to say.
Yes. And the thing about openness itself is that it's open ended. So let's leave it open ended and just see what happens.
Yes. Let's see.
Like Papaji famously said, wait and see.
I love it.
Thank you, Jonas.
Oh, thank you, Maeve. What a nourishing conversation.